احب اشكر الاساتذه المنظمين للميتنج، الاستاذ الدكتور محمد الشافعي والاستاذ الدكتور اسامه حجازي على الدعوه الكريمه. التوك النهارده عن المونتاج Fracture-Dislocation in children. First of all, in 1914 جوفاني مونتاج ده كان راجل بتاع باثولوجيست، وهو اول واحد اكتشف الليجن واداله الوصف في تو كاديفرز، وادى ديسكريبشن بتاع ان المونتاج ليجن ده عباره عن فراكشر النا مع anterior dislocation للراديال هيد. epidemiology 1 or 2% of forearm fracture. بالنسبه للانسيدنس of types of montague fracture-dislocation, the 4 types described by Paediatric. The commonest is type 1 about 60%, type 3 about 25%, type 2 5%, and type 4 1%. José Paediatric in 1958 divided montague fracture into 4 types according to the direction of dislocation of the radial head, and describe the 4 classic types or true types, and give 4 equivalent types. The equivalent type or montague variants described them according to similar mechanism of injury or similar radiographic pattern or methods or similar method of treatment. The 4 Paediatric types: type 1, anterior dislocation of the radial head with fracture of the ulna; type 2, posterior dislocation of the head with fracture of the ulna; type 3, lateral dislocation; and type 4, like type 1, with fracture of the radius. Type 1, as we mentioned, anterior dislocation with fracture of ulna. The level of fracture in metaphyseal or diaphyseal. The mechanism of injury either direct trauma, hyperpronation, or hyper extension. Let's further subdivide type 1 according to the pattern of fracture of the ulna. Either type A, plastic deformation; type B, green stick; type C, complete fracture. Mechanism of type 1: direct trauma to the ulna leads to fracture. Further force leaves the head anteriorly, leading to anterior dislocation of the radial head. Hyperpronation, rotation of the radius around the ulna. First, the radial head dislocate anteriorly, followed by fracture of the ulna. The third mechanism is hyperextension injury. The biceps pull the radius anteriorly, leading to dislocation, followed by anterior tension over the ulna and the fracture of the ulna. Signs and symptoms: the usual pain, swelling, limitation of movement. Radiography is the most important thing in radiography. EP may be normal, especially in type 1. The line passing through the axis of the radius and the neck and the head must bisect the capitellum in any degree of flexion or extension. The line through the axis of the radius, neck, and head must bisect the capitellum in a plane of flexion. This fracture are easy fracture to manage, but if neglected or not diagnosed, it will lead to a great problem. So proper management is mandatory. In cases of complete transverse fracture or short oblique fracture, percutaneous intramedullary wire through the ulna and the reduction of the radial head is enough. In cases of long oblique fracture or comminuted fracture, the pinning is not enough and we need internal fixation. If there is irreducible radial head, I must go to open reduction. aggressive approach avoid late complications. Then we'll put the patient in a slight supination in a cast from 19 to 110 degree of flexion. This case of Bado type 1, there is anterior dislocation of the radial head with fracture of the ulna at the metaphyseal level. In this case, single intramedullary wire is of the ulna with reduction of the radial head is enough. But there is some comminution in the metaphysis, and the metaphysis is why in this case I prefer to put 3 wires. 2 from the tip towards the anterior cortex and 1 intramedullary to improve stability. The follow-up X-ray after removal of the wires and the healing of the fracture. The other option is radiocapitellar wire reduction and radiocapitellar. In this case, Bado type 1 and radiocapitellar wire. But wires crossing the joint is not preferred. Can lead to stiffness, can lead to chondrolysis, stress, fracture of the wire can occur. So wire extraarticular through the ulna is preferred. Type 2, serious dislocation or fracture of the ulna at the metaphysis or the diaphysis, a mechanism direct or sudden rotation or supination. It's rare type. It's about 5% of cases. This is type 2, either type 2 or posterior dislocation. The same treatment, K-wire fixation is enough, but reduction of type 2 in extension and casting in extension to reduce the fracture of the ulna. You must take care about injuries of the radial head associated with type 2 fracture. Usually there is an injury of the anterior part of the radial head which must be reduced and maybe fixed. You must reduce the type 2 in extension. Type 3, there is lateral dislocation of the radial head due to varus stress, the mechanism of injury, so reduction must be done in abduction with lateral pressure of the radial head to reduce it. Varus stress. Treatment also reduction of the radial head, and we need intramedullary wire. This is lateral dislocation with metaphyseal fracture, single intramedullary wire through the ulna with reduction of the radial head was done. This case with the level of fracture at the diaphysis and lateral dislocation, also single intramedullary wire with reduction of the head is enough. Type 4, it's rare type, associated fracture shaft radius and ulna with anterior dislocation of the radial head. It's very rare, it's about 1%. Management, the same. We can fix first the radius, followed by dealing with the fracture as type 1. After fixation of the radius, either with wire or if near skeletal maturity we can put a plate, we can deal with the remaining parts of the fracture as type 1. The variant equivalent region or equivalent lesion to Montague is commonly to type 1. Their lesion, as we mentioned, has a similar mechanism of injury, similar X-ray, or similar line of treatment. We have isolated fracture of the radial head, isolated fracture of the neck, radial neck fracture in combination with ulnar diaphysis fracture, radial and ulnar fracture, fracture of the ulnar diaphysis with the anterior dislocation of the radial head and the cranial fracture. The major problem, management of Montague fracture in pediatric population is very easy and very simple. The major problem is under treatment or neglected treatment. We are dealing with unreduced fracture dislocation. which can lead to functional impairment, weakness and instability, pain, degenerative arthritis, and delayed neuropathy. We need to do surgery. Surgery consists of reduction of the radial head with or without reconstruction of the annular ligament, and we may need an osteotomy for the ulna. Reconstruction is done by central or lateral strip of triceps, and it's time consuming, ends in stiffness of the elbow joints, and all the recent literature does not do reconstruction the annular ligament. Reconstruction, as we mentioned, from central slip or lateral slip of the aponeurosis of the triceps. Ulnar osteotomy, it will allow easy reduction of the radial head and avoid subluxation. We fix the osteotomy with plate and screws or external fixator. Some cases of type 1 may not need osteotomy of the ulna. Other complications, ossification around the radial head or myocytes ossificans. Ossification around the radial head, it occurs in a false capsule, usually in case of neglected dislocation. When you do reduction, you find the radial head inside a fibrous capsule, usually, in most of cases. Ossification occurs in the radial head in this capsule, the false capsule around the radial head. The second is myocytes ossificans over the brachials. Take a home message. It's easy fracture, easy fix it, don't miss, don't under-treat. Neglected cases, not simply managed. Actually, the last case I do it, I found deformity in the radial head and radial shaft. It's not appear in the X-ray. So when you're dealing with chronic cases, you must do multi-slice CT to see the anatomy of the proximal radius. You may need radial osteotomy with ulnar osteotomy to reduce the head and to avoid subluxation or redislocation of the radial head. Thank you.